We're in a special location because it's fight week. And this man, Joshua Weems, I finally get to meet him in person, people, after a couple of great Zoom interviews. We're here. He's in Albuquerque as he's preparing to head back home to Mississippi. It's Gamebred Bare Knuckle MMA on November 15th. It's good to meet you, dude.
Heck yeah, nice to meet you too, man. I appreciate you taking the time and coming, especially on fight week, right before I take off.
You've made this trip a couple times this camp. It's been some big sacrifices. So what was the thought process leading into such a big fight like the one you're going to be in against Jason Knight?
Really, like every one of them, just ended up being a longer camp this time because the date was originally told like September and then or late September, maybe October, and we just staying ready, you know, so we pressed the gas, but just ended up being a longer camp. That's why I came out here for 3 weeks earlier in camp, and then now coming back, missing Halloween, all that good stuff, and just, you know, spend another couple weeks here, just, you know, sharpening the tools and getting that altitude training to get that third lung. That way I can put out a good pace on Jason Knight because, you know, he's a dog. He's going to bring it.
A bare knuckle superstar. We know the notable fight that helped put BKFC on the map with Artem Lobov. I don't know if many people know this, though. You've stepped into the BKFC kind of circle yourself, though, right?
Yes, sir. It was the Toe the Line, like the feeder series. Actually, was one of the ones that got a contract that night. They just wanted to wait probably 8 months, 9 months, and I never heard anything. And they blessed me and let me get out of that contract and go back to fighting MMA.
So it's not like the bare knuckles on anything new. We know that coming off of a huge win like the one that you got over Irwin Rivera, that bare knuckle MMA has been up your alley. What has it been about taking off the gloves that's attracted you to this version of the combat sports?
Just the rawest form of fighting. I mean, you know, you get into an altercation, which I have not since I've become a fighter, but if you get into an altercation and, you know, it's just the rawest form. I mean, you don't have a second to put your gloves on. And it's something intriguing about that. It's no room for error, which our sport in MMA is anyway. So it's just a little bit less padding. So you got to be that much more tighter in your defense. And that's in the striking and in the ground. So it's just something that, you know, it's like a different thrill, I would say.
It's a different thrill. Would you say that bare knuckle MMA and gloved MMA are that much different, though, from each other?
No, actually, I don't think so at all. It's just settling in and knowing that this is a bare knuckle fight. You know, you got to just stay a little tighter. I mean, the bone structure gets touched by a glove. It may or may not cut. The bone structure gets hit by a bare knuckle. 9 times out of 10, it's going to get cut. You know, you get caught on top of the head, maybe not cut, maybe the cheek may not cut, but the cheekbone, the eye bone, you know, the orbital, all that good stuff. I mean, it's liable to cut. And just I think they say it's like an 80% cut rate. So I would say that's the only difference to me is just the cuts. So
I mentioned bare knuckle MMA, the last win that you got. It was a big one. Irwin Rivera at 135 pounds. You're taking fights at 45, 55, and I believe this is going to be a 40 catch weight. What has been the issue getting you back to 35?
So they're still building their weight divisions. They actually, out of my 4 fights, I've only fought 1 time at 135 for them, and it's not their fault. They just don't want what they call crotch sniffers. You know, if you're a wrestler and you can put out the damage, awesome. You know, they'll bring you on. But if you're going to come in and make this a boring fight, they are not wanting you. And I love that about them. It might take a little longer to build the division because it just takes some cojones to step off in there, you know, take them gloves off. That's just it. But I think that's just the hardest thing is they're building their division. And that's why this one is like, they were like, you want to do this one at 45? And I was like, can we do a catch weight 40? Because, you know, I'm just trying to show that I'm eligible to make a title run for their belt. And, you know, Jason Knight and Dean Toole worked out a deal. We got 140, and I just think I'm a hard man to beat at that weight class. 35, 40, I'm dangerous. I can put out a high pace, and I can take more punishment if I need to, but I don't have that style. I'm a mongoose. I like to hit and don't be hit, and especially in bare knuckle, I think that's a winning style. So
Jason Knight has a lot of experience, a lot of film on him, from The Ultimate Fighter to the UFC to BKFC. I got to ask, do you expect to see the same guy, the same energy levels, the same physicality at 40 to 45? Do you think that's going to make a difference for him?
I don't think he'll be able to keep up with it later in the fight. I think he'll be the same dog early. We're treating him like he's that UFC vet who came in at 18-1 or 18-2. He beat Dan Hooker, Alex Caceres. I mean, he was a different fighter back then, but we're treating him like he is that fighter, because I give Jason Knight all the respect, and that'll exit out when that bell rings. But I know he's been around the block, and I'm excited to get to use his name to catapult my own name. So
I know there's no self-determination from you to just have to go out there and fight every other big name in Mississippi. But it's kind of happening. I mean, he doesn't want to just go conquer his state, but it's happening. Jason Knight's this big, recognizable figure. What does that kind of mean to you, fighting a guy that helped put the state on the map again?
Yeah, it means a lot to me, actually. You said it perfect. I mean, he put the state on the map. He was one of the guys, him and his coach, Alan Belcher, his teammate, Brandon Davis, who I have fought. I pride myself on being the #1 bantamweight of Mississippi. And when you look up on Tapology, that's what you see. And it motivates me to know I got a big name in front of me like Jason Knight. And he isn't a bantamweight. He's a 45er, you know what I mean? I do know that he's going to come correct, because he knows what I bring to the table. I've already fought his teammates, so that's why I'm treating him like the best version of Jason Knight could possibly be. And I think that's why we're going to really give the fans what they want.
Many people look at Jason Knight and think about, again, that Law fight. He's a striker. Ultimate Fighter proved he's a grappler, reminding everybody, I think it's like 14 wins by submission. He got a triangle there. And in bare knuckle, we saw him against Charles Bennett, and he got the back right away. Killer rear naked choke. What are you thinking of this fight? Does somebody come into your wheelhouse and want to play that grappling game? Or are you guys going to strike? What are you foreseeing plays out? I know you don't want to give away too much of the game plan, but how do you feel this one looks?
I'm okay with wherever the fight goes. I don't think Jason's a better grappler than me. I think he's really good at what he's good at, meaning he's great at taking the back. He's great at sinking in those rear naked chokes. He's got a really funky mission rubber guard, whatever you want to call it. And then bare knuckle, even if he's not going to submit with it, he can bust me open. And so I'm respecting all those areas, but we've trained for those areas. And I'm just excited to go out here and test his heart and his will, see how far he can take it.
You don't want to look too far ahead, but is it a little tempting to look up the card, the main event, the bantamweight title's on the line? I know that's what you want.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I fought one of the guys fighting for the belt. Definitely got my eyes on that one. They're two great fighters. They're coming to Mississippi, where, I don't know. I feel like I'm #1 in Mississippi, and they're having a title fight in Mississippi, but I am coming off a loss to a higher weight class. So I got to put on a performance to show I don't care what happens in that fight. I want the winner. And whether they give me that or not, I know Dean Toole and Masvidal are going to create some other killer for me, but we're taking it one fight at a time. I'm going to go out here and put on a show and get it done. And then I'm going to go in the crowd and I'm going to really pay close attention to that fight, though.
This training camp was an extended one. It's cost you Halloween. It's 2 trips out to New Mexico, 5 weeks of sacrifice away from the family. I know you miss them. How do you make all this worth it?
Well, man, my kids been watching me since they were little, so they're going to watch me on that TV, and I love to make them proud. So they know all that sacrifice. Is my first Halloween missed away from them. A lot of people don't really care about that, but they're young right now. We were going to be creating those memories. They actually called me the next day, not to make me feel bad, but just told me it wasn't the same. And it's just added motivation, added fuel. I'm just like every other camp. I'm gambling on myself, man. I got some awesome sponsors. They're helping me. But again, this has been an extended camp, so they can only help so much. So, sometimes you got to kind of gamble on yourself, and that's what this one's been. I've been blessed by super good mentors here, like Maurice Jackson, put me up in his house. I mean, just like a family member to me, and I'm honored to be able to have him come and corner me for this one, and I can't wait to represent for Jacksonwink. I don't think they've had a fighter from Jacksonwink other than Joel Bauman fight for Bare Knuckle MMA, and I want to go out here and represent for the biggest school. I mean, I can't wait to do that.
And you guys can all watch it free, YouTube.
Gamebred FC, you have to type that in. It's like Gamebred FC number 8. So, and you'll have to do that on the night of the fight, but you can subscribe early, of course. So,
I look forward to seeing it, man.
Hell yeah, awesome, man. I appreciate
Thank you for the time.
Heck yeah, man. Awesome.